The problem is we don't have sufficient capacity for all the people who want more education. So if we're serious about this, one thing that we could do tomorrow, you asked about what's plausible to get passed in state legislature. You know, community colleges are supported by public funds. Students pay some tuition to get in there and so forth. That doesn't begin to cover the bills. It's public funds. We need people to say we have to get serious about community college education and focus some additional resources on that, and also on little kids and middle school and high school.
I read some article recently saying that there was a bill trying to be passed to have a lot of local community colleges be able to offer 4-year degrees. Have you heard about this, and what are your thoughts on that?
You got a comment on this?
No, I had something else. I'll wait till after.
You sure?
Yeah.
I've heard some about that. It could be worthwhile. There's still more than enough demand even for a 2-year, and it doesn't even have to be degree training, just kind of, advanced skills and things that people are already interested in. Basic trades. Not everybody has to be a political scientist or an architect or something like that. We can build, an attorney or something, although we certainly use, I don't know if we need more attorneys, but certainly lots of other things. But skilled trades, there are plumbers who make more than college professors, master electricians who make more. So if some of them want to expand into some 4-year degrees and so forth, okay. But there's huge unmet demand way below that. In Dayton, Ohio, they get any Ohio folks? Not a room this size and not a single. Are you embarrassed to say that? Dayton, Ohio. I don't remember what the name of this community college is. Not important. I was there a few years. Dayton, Ohio Community College runs 24 hours a day. It runs like Yost Ice Arena, where the scheduled games at 3 in the morning. You play hockey, go down at Yost or football or anything. What do you guys do? I mean, other than class? I mean, Yost is scheduled 24 hours a day. The community college in Dayton, Ohio holds classes 24 hours a day. So that no matter what shift you're working or whatever your schedule is, if you have little kids at home, whatever, there's an opportunity there. We could do things like that.
Is there anything like that being discussed?
Not that I'm aware of. Not even to say.
Is there other programs like one in Highland that are trying to get started?
Yes. Focus Hope. Here's something that works well, and then we'll get you here and get you here. Has anyone ever heard of Focus Hope or visited Focus Hope or worked there? Focus Hope is a nonprofit organization basically in the middle of Detroit. If you take an I-96 and you get to the Livernois exit and go north about a mile or something, you would be there. Focus Hope started after the 1967 rebellion in the city of Detroit. A Catholic priest, Father William Cunningham, was an English teacher at Catholic school, was, felt compelled to do something. We have to do something. We can't let our whole city burn to the ground and people fighting with one. We have to do something. What can we do? He said, well, the first thing people need is food. We have a lot of people who just don't have food. So we'll start a food pantry and, surplus cheese distribution and stuff like that. So they did that for a while. And I said, we could be giving people food forever. What we need to do is to help people to become more self-sufficient and self-reliant. So we need to start a program to train people for jobs. And unlike a lot of training programs, it has to be for jobs that actually exist, not as the vast majority of job training programs are. You go to the job training program, you learn how to write a resume, or that's usually the first lesson, or some basic math or something, and then they hand you the computer with the job list and say, okay, go find a job. Cunningham wasn't going to do it. He said, we need to have real jobs. Southeastern Michigan, and this gets to your topic, was then and is now a strong manufacturing center. Manufacturing is not dead. We still have to make stuff. We can't import everything from other places in the world. There are good, solid, profitable manufacturing firms in Southeast, in Michigan, not just Southeast, in Michigan. You know, the furniture industry in the western state is the most innovative, and so forth, might argue, but office furniture, but also home. Medical research is powerful. So anyway, Father Cunningham said, okay, we need to sit down with Ford and GM and Chrysler and some of the parts manufacturers and so forth, find out what it is that they require in the people they hire. Contract with them that we will train people to your specifications, and they will be good people and well trained if you then guarantee that if you've got qualified people from Focus Home, you will hire them. And they made a deal on that. And so they started some, math and reading crash programs. Then they moved people into learning how to use lathes. Then computer, what is it called? The computer CNC. Any people do metal work or anything like that? Computer numerically controlled machines. It's fairly high-techy stuff on how you make parts and things. And then into more. Then they struck a deal with Lehigh University in Western Pennsylvania. I think some with Michigan State, not with us and so forth. So the folks who got out of this program had a legitimate engineering degree from a real 4-year university, not some, ITI or some weirdo, but a real university 4-year diploma degree in engineering. You could also get a 2-year degree. They have a 98% placement rate at Focus Home. At least they had until like the last year or so when things have really come crashing down. Their biggest problem was not placing people in jobs. Focus Hope's biggest problem was corporations coming and robbing people out of the classrooms in Focus Hope before they were even finished with their degrees, raiding the classrooms. That's how well these people were trained. You had to be on time. You had to be there 5 days a week. If you were late on one of the 5 days a week, you had to come in on Saturday. Pardon? They got the money from some from contracts. The training and work was to produce parts that actually were then, General Motors and Chrysler and such purchased. They had contracts from the Defense Department for parts for jeeps and tanks and things like that. They got some grants, some federal grants, partly to run the food program, but also some of the job training, some of the grants for that. They get a lot of donations. They were running this for some number of years and very successfully. They said, okay, but a lot of people have kids and they want to come here and get their education and so forth, but they need someplace for their kids during the day. So they started a Montessori school, which is like the most beautiful school that you could ever, preschool that you could ever hope to see. And now they've added housing in the neighborhood, and it's just, it's kind of one thing after the other and so forth. So I forget even where did our questions start? Was it about jobs and training or something, or? Like Harlem Children's Zone, yes. And so now, in the last year, they said, well, the kids come out of our Montessori school, and now we need to have something for them. And so they have gotten some grants to start a Harlem Children's Zone style program in the middle of Detroit, here around Focus Hope. You ever get a chance to go there? Is there any Ross people in here? The School of Business has a long partnership with Focus Hope, and I think the MBA students have to go there and do some work there every year. And the engineering school does some stuff with them, but Ross in particular does. You absolutely, the thing has expanded. It's like both sides of Oakland Boulevard running for maybe 4 city blocks on both sides of the street. It is a major complex that started with one little food pantry, and it's become this behemoth. All presidential candidates come and visit Focus Hope when they're here. Colin Powell, they got a big picture of Colin Powell when he was visiting there and so forth. FocusHope.edu Pretty sure that's what it is. Check that out and see if that. Great place to. Now they're into information technology, health sciences. Those are where the jobs, the growth industries are. IT stuff, health, health services, everything from licensed practical nurses all the way up through RN degrees and everything else. Still a strong engineering and manufacturing program, but they are wide open and always looking for new opportunities to go with. Tremendously entrepreneurial folks there, really, really great.
I was going to touch on even before Focus Hope and promoting programs that will get to degrees and things like that. I have a friend from the east side of Detroit who will probably sit and tell you the most important thing that kept him from not graduating high school and getting into trouble and other things, and with the gangs and all the different inner city issues, was after school programs and academic help centers and beyond just sports programs, but the after school things that they would do in the city of Detroit. And how do you think that we can promote a bill to the legislature to have them fund more programs for the city of Detroit and the inner city kids to spend time off the streets and getting in trouble? And when they're 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, I think is some of the most important years to keep them after school doing things and busy. Their moms, most of their moms are probably, or dads are gone, and moms are working, and it's easy for them to go out and get in trouble.
Is this responsive to that?
Well, I think that a lot of that, I mean, I worked at Logan Elementary School in Michigan Avenue in Illinois, and I know that, like, they're talking to the teachers there, they said that a lot of it would be, like, they would want, like, a mentoring program, or, like, have, like, someone who the kids can relate to and have, like, support from, because they can't get that in their family, and these people can introduce them to activities that they can get involved with. So I thought that, like,
Did you do that through DP, or what did you do that through?
it was actually it was called UC 151. UC 151.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Lucy program? Or
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So they said that having that kind of structure, or like having even just a role model in their life, they could want to follow the steps, so that the extracurricular activities that those kind of people were doing, they would want to follow in those steps. So that would just be like an introduction to that.
I agree with that, but how do we get more funding and create more programs? Because it's obviously not being done enough. Like, the kids, I think, buy into the programs, and I know from my friend that was involved in after-school programs like this, liked it, but I just don't think, how do we make a bigger issue of it? Because I think it's working.
I think that, well, I think that a lot of the issue is the fact that people aren't aware of this, of what's going on. Like, as much as they know what's going on, they kind of, like how they describe that.
Who's the they?
Like
they.
people who just, like certain people just have this view. I don't know, in our world, in the country, they don't necessarily want to focus on those on the education issues. They're just people like that.
Well, no, they're not just people. If you want to figure out a practical strategy to get something accomplished, first of all, you have to do some market research to find out who they are. And how you would, you're absolutely on target, and with your suggestions, and moreover, not only are you on target, you did it. Okay, so it's very important and appropriate that we talk about, and you develop and plan some strategies for, like, greater funding from the state and so forth. In the meantime, okay, just go do something. It doesn't have to be the perfect thing. You don't have to do it perfectly well, but and don't do it. Don't do it harm. I mean, you had some introductory programs to sensitize you to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.